Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive, where we dive deep into fascinating topics. And today, we're really going off the beaten path.
We are.
We are. We've got this summarized article, and get this, it was originally written in Gujarati,
Oh, wow.
and it tackles, you're ready for this, the importance of experiences in life.
Okay.
All of them. The good and the bad, the ups and the downs, the whole shebang.
So what makes this perspective so unique, at least from what I've seen, is that it really emphasizes those negative experiences, right? The setbacks, how those can actually contribute to our maturity and growth. It's not just about celebrating the wins, but understanding how those bumps in the road really shape us.
So we're not just trying to, avoid those tough moments, but actually learn to kind of, I don't know, navigate them, even maybe use them to our advantage.
Exactly. This article, the way I understand it, it argues that every single experience, no matter what it is, every new experience, it kind of raises the bar, right?
Yeah.
It raises the bar for our personal development. It's like leveling up in a video game.
Okay, I like that.
Right. Every challenge we overcome, we're unlocking a new level of maturity, of resilience, and it's almost like it prepares us for, even bigger challenges down the line.
So it's like this continuous upward spiral,
Hmm.
even if it doesn't feel like it all the time, even if there are those dips along the way.
That's the idea. It's not always going to be easy or, straightforward, but it's that upward trajectory that we're aiming for.
Speaking of challenges, there's this one line from the summary that really stood out to me. It said, and I'm quoting here, failing the 10th grade is better than passing the 8th grade,
Ooh.
right? Kind of a head scratcher at first. Seems a little counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, on the surface, like, wait, what? But that's what I think makes it so interesting. What it seems to highlight is the importance of pushing our boundaries, right? The article, from what I gather, is arguing that, at least within Gujarati culture, that taking on a challenge, even if you might fail, is actually seen as more valuable than just playing it safe, staying in your comfort zone, and succeeding at something that's, well, less demanding. It's the act of actually striving for something difficult, something more that teaches us more about ourselves, even if we don't get there right away.
I mean, that makes sense. If you think about it, it's kind of like choosing to climb Mount Everest, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just like a local hill. I mean, even if you don't make it to the summit of Everest, the journey itself, the preparation, the sheer audacity of even trying, it's going to push you further than you ever thought possible.
Exactly. And it plays into, another key concept that I picked up from the article. Life, it's not a linear path. It's not just this straight shot to success. It's full of twists and turns, unexpected obstacles, moments where you might feel like you're taking a couple steps back. But it's how we navigate those challenges, the lessons we learn, the resilience we build along the way that really matters.
So it's not about avoiding those falls. It's about what? Like learning how to bounce back even stronger.
You got it. And to illustrate this whole idea of, continuous growth through setbacks,
Yeah.
the article uses this really cool analogy. They call it the trampoline analogy.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I got to hear more about this trampoline effect.
Okay, so picture this. You're on a trampoline, you're jumping, having a good time, right? You're going up, but then, of course, what goes up must come down. And sometimes maybe you lose your balance a little or you trip. You might even fall, right? But it's what happens next that's important.
Yeah.
You use that momentum, that energy to bounce back up and maybe even higher than you were before. And that's kind of how this article sees life experiences. Every time we hit a setback, we have this opportunity, this chance to learn from it, adapt, and use that newfound resilience, that bounce, to propel ourselves even further.
I like that. So it's really emphasizing that cyclical nature of growth.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can actually use those falls to our advantage. But how does this all tie back into, the article's idea of conscious living?
Good question. So conscious living, at least how it's described in this article, it's about being actively engaged in our own growth process. It's about really paying attention to those experiences, both the highs and the lows, and actually trying to pull out those valuable lessons that are hidden within them. It's not just about going through the motions, but reflecting, understanding why things happened the way they did, and using that knowledge to make smarter decisions, more informed decisions as we move forward.
So it's about being mindful, intentional about how we learn and grow from every experience, not just letting life happen to us, but actively shaping it.
That's a great way to put it. And it all circles back to that trampoline analogy. Conscious living, that's what allows us to bounce back higher and higher after each fall. It's recognizing that even those so-called bad decisions, they can actually lead to valuable life experiences. And those experiences, in turn, can empower us to make better decisions later on. It's like this continuous refinement, you know?
Hmm.
We learn from those mistakes and we use that knowledge to navigate all the twists and turns of life with more awareness and hopefully a bit more skill.
It's like sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Right.
It's all about changing our perspective, shifting it a little bit, to see those setbacks not as failures, but as opportunities to grow, to understand ourselves better.
Exactly. And this article, it really emphasizes that every single experience, whether it gives us what we want or not, it's still providing some sort of valuable insight. It's
Yeah.
about finding that wisdom in every situation, even the ones that at first glance seem negative or disappointing.
So even when things don't go exactly according to plan, we're still gaining something crucial, that awareness, that deeper understanding of ourselves and, well, how things work.
100%. It's like we're constantly gathering these data points about ourselves, right? Our strengths, our weaknesses, what really matters to us. It's like we're building this personal database of knowledge, and that database informs our future choices. And hopefully it helps us create a life that's more aligned with our values, our aspirations, who we want to be.
So it's this feedback loop, like
Oh.
we make a decision, we experience the consequences, and then we use that knowledge to make, smarter choices next time around.
Precisely. And the more we engage in that loop, that feedback loop, the more refined our decision-making process becomes. We start to see the patterns, we start to anticipate those potential pitfalls, and we just develop this greater sense of self-awareness that guides us toward those more fulfilling experiences and hopefully better outcomes too.
So it's all about embracing the journey, right? With all its imperfections, the detours, the bumps in the road, knowing that each step, even the missteps, they're contributing to our growth, our evolution.
And speaking of embracing the journey, this article also highlights something else I found really interesting. It's the importance of actually acknowledging, even celebrating those moments where we might stumble or fall. There's this one statement that really stood out to me. We mortals have to fall to rise higher.
It's a beautiful way to put it,
Yeah.
because it recognizes that setbacks, they're just a part of life,
Yeah.
right? Part of the human experience. But it also emphasizes our ability to learn and adapt and ultimately rise above those challenges.
It's this reminder that often our capacity for growth is really ignited in those moments where we're pushed beyond our comfort zone,
Right.
where we face adversity and we're forced to really dig deep to find that strength, that resilience.
It's like the saying, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. But this takes it a step further. It's not just about survival. It's suggesting that those challenges can actually propel us forward, help us discover strengths we didn't even know we had, and reach new heights that we might not have even considered before.
Yeah, it's almost like those setbacks, they're kind of built into the design of life.
Okay.
Like they're essential for that upward trajectory.
That is a really fascinating way to look at it. And,
Yeah.
this article, it kind of supports that idea. It actually suggests that we should be grateful for those experiences, even the ones that we might initially perceive as negative.
Grateful for the tough times. That's a new one for me.
It is, isn't it? It's kind of counterintuitive, but what the article's arguing is that those challenging experiences, they're ultimately gifts in disguise.
Mm.
They're these opportunities for really profound learning and growth that we just wouldn't encounter if everything always went smoothly.
So it's all about reframing our perspective. Seeing those falls not as failures, but as these chances for growth, self-discovery. That's it, exactly. The article even uses this phrase, life has sent you a teacher in the disguise of an experience. Powerful, right? It's a reminder that even the most difficult situations, they can hold these valuable lessons if we're just, open to learning from them.
I mean, yeah, those disguised teachers, they can be pretty tough sometimes. It's hard to see the lesson when you're right in the middle of it all, when you're in the thick of that challenging experience.
Oh, absolutely. But that's where this idea of conscious living comes in. It's about cultivating that awareness, right? Recognizing those teachers when they show up, stepping back from this situation a bit and asking yourself, okay, what can I learn from this?
So taking a step back, taking a deep breath, and looking for that lesson, even when it's hard to see.
That's it. Shifting that mindset, from one of resistance and frustration to one of curiosity and acceptance. And this Gujarati article, it really gives us a framework for doing just that, encouraging us to embrace it all, the full spectrum of human experience, the ups, the downs, knowing that each one is playing a part in our own unique journey of growth and evolution.
I don't know about you, but this whole conversation has been incredibly insightful. I've got like a whole new perspective on how to approach those challenges and setbacks. But as we wrap up here, I want to hear from you, our listener. What's an experience you've had recently that pushed you out of your comfort zone? What did you learn from it?
Yeah, think about that. And how might understanding this whole, trampoline effect that we've been talking about, how might that change your approach to future challenges? Will you face them with more resilience, knowing that even if you stumble, you've got the power to bounce back even higher? Something to think about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the importance of life experiences. We're always exploring new ideas here, new perspectives, and we hope you keep coming back to join us on this journey of discovery.